my channel. What am I doing today? Today I just want to draw something. I really do. I have my sketchbooks that I have going out here. I have my sketchbooks that I'm using, and I just want to draw something. And so I pulled them out, and I was like, I'm trying to get a feel for what sketchbook I want to use. So that's why I pulled them out. Now, before I hop into this might look like a lot, but let me tell you what my process is. Okay, so usually I have at least 3 to 4 sketchbooks going at the same time. Going means I'm using them. I'm using at least 3 to 4 different sketchbooks at any given time. And there's a good reason for this, guys. First of all, I love watercolor, so I have to have a sketchbook with watercolor paper in there. This is Fluid 100% cotton. This book, I'm sure how I made this book. Yeah, so this is my watercolor sketchbook, and I have this going. So going means it's already open. I've drew a couple sketches in them, as you can see. Some of them I haven't colored yet, but yes, most of these videos you have already seen. So I have this going, so I'm using this. The other book I have is another watercolor paper. This one is Fabriano Hot Press, 25% cotton, but usually I love using this with colored pencils. And I have this going too. I think this is almost finished if I'm not mistaken. I think there's like 10 or 4 pages. What on earth? Oh gosh. Look at that. Yeah. Just little sketches. This was supposed to be my Easter sketch. Oh wow, there's only 1 sheet and a half left. About 3 pages left before this is completed. That's interesting. I never realized I only had so few pages left in this one. And then I have one going that I use for markers and colored pencils. Now, yes, there is one that I have going that I use for markers. Sorry, I forgot one. For markers and colored pencils. Well, this one I have going is because I'm using this one. Thank you, plain. Wait till he passes. This one I have going because this one I've used exclusively with alcohol-based markers. This is another handmade sketchbook. These are some prompts that I did. Yeah, so this one I have going too. This has in the Nina bright white paper cardstock with the expressive blended card. So I have this going. And this one I use with colored pencils and crayons. I'm sure you have seen this one. So yeah, I have this going too. There's a few pages left in here too. So this one is almost completed. And I've also opened this one here. And this has in watercolor paper, but unlike this one, the watercolor paper that is in here all have been primed with gesso. So I mostly use this for acrylic paints and gouache. I don't normally have one of these going or open, I should say, or used, but I was curious to see what it's like to use an entire sketchbook that has been primed with paint with gesso. So yeah, I usually just has one with markers, one for markers, one for colored pencils, and one for watercolor. But this one is almost finished. So I have all these books that are going here right now, and I've completed a few. I think I just fully completed this one. So this one is still near me to put in storage, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sketchbooks that are completed, but they still have some pages in there that I need to color. So I haven't put those up into storage as yet. Okay, so now that you know my sketchbook dilemma, I am actually seriously considering finishing off this one here because I feel like I want to draw today. I have no idea what I want to draw. So being that I've selected to use this one, I already know the medium I'm going to use because this is watercolor paper hot press. And I actually enjoy using this paper with colored pencils, so I know automatically I'll be using this with colored pencils. Plus I really do have to finish some of these sketchbooks off. Okay, so I was looking through these sketchbooks, these ones, not this one. This is the one I'm going to draw in. I was looking through these ones here, and I was thinking of doing a redraw of something out of these sketchbooks. Now the May-June means that these had coloring pages, because what I did last year is for my Patreon reward I gave a lot of coloring pages. So the Patreon has these for their reward, and so there's a lot of stuff in here. I haven't drawn September or August in a while, so I'm thinking I just did October for mermaid, so I'm thinking, why don't I try to redraw August? I drew this picture in March of 2021, August, with his zap duds, and there's a lot of pictures in here that needs to be rendered because yeah. A lot. So it's still out. Maybe I should use some of the Rosa Gallery, but I want to draw today, so yeah. So let's draw this scene here. Redraw that scene, August with his zap duds in this, in one of the final pages. And there's some pages in here too that needs to be rendered, but we can do that another time. I want to draw today. I keep saying I want to draw today, and I'm not telling you guys why I want to draw today. Let's hop into it, guys. Let me stop my blabbering. Okay, the reason why I want to draw today is because I want to test out this little boy here. This is the Twsbi Go. It is a fountain pen. Lately I have been getting into fountain pens, and I have it right now inked with the Noodler's Polar Brown ink. I'm sure I have showed this ink before, and it's just testing out. The beautiful part about this ink, if I can show you guys, is that it is brown ink. So yeah, let me get a piece of paper and show you what's going on. Now, I've been blabbering so much today, so disorganized. You guys are not used to that from me. So I really want to start using this. See, it's brown. And if you guys know me, I rarely lined my work with colored ink. It's usually always black, and so today I really want to try to use this ink here, which is the Noodlers. I have it in this Twsbi Go. This is an extra fine point too. Yeah, and that's why I feel like I want to draw today, because I really feel inspired for using this pen and using this ink. Here's a picture of the ink I'm referring to. It spilled a little bit. Let me give you guys some light. Yeah, it spilled a little bit on the paper, but yeah, this is the Polar Brown. So I really want to try using these inks. Okay, so now that I have my subject all filled out, you guys know why I'm inspired to draw. Let me stop my blabbering and get into the drawing. Now that we're all drawn up and lined up, let's get our color up. Okay, as you can see, I am using the Marco Renior Colored Pencils. I have the 72 set. I believe this goes up to 120. I'm trying not to repeat myself, guys. I just did the outro part of this, so let's see if I can remember all the things I said. I am actually using the planet that August is on. This is my original character, August. He's one of 3 original characters I have, and he's actually on an alien planet with zepods. And the planet that he's on is a purple planet, so the skies are purple, the mountain is purple, the ground is purple, the rocks are purple, and some of the zepods are purple. And the younger ones are actually, I think, orange. So I'm just coloring the sky here. I'm actually very mindful going in there first, as you can see, with light pencil color, and then just gradually increasing my color pressure and my color load onto the sky. I was very purposeful in trying to blend this out. I also, you can see me using white there to create somewhat of a resist in the sky. Pencil lead broke, just so that the sky itself can, to look like it has some clouds and definition, make it a little more tree to life, now real to life, a little more 3D, and again, just trying to build up those colors. I think the colors that I use for the sky is actually purple, magenta, red violet, and a purple violet here for the Marco Renior Colored Pencil sets. And I'm doing the mountains. Now for the mountains, I actually did burnt sienna and magenta. That was very purposeful. I laid down the burnt sienna first, as you saw, and then I put on the magenta. Now I'm using odorless mineral spirits to blend out the ground itself. And this was when I noticed that both the sky and the ground portion of this background looked the same. And so I went in there now with some blue. This was actually number 91, blue violet, to kind of create a little bit of separation for that sky. I did something a bit differently. I have to hurry. I did something a little bit differently here, where I colored August's shirt with plaids, and I'm using green. This is actually his color. I'm sure I will be highlighting this in the end piece, where I highlight the different two, using bright greens there for his hat. For his hat is actually black, but I actually use a very dark brown. For it, actually dark brown gray I use, because that is not actually it's a dark color, but it's not black, and I could use black itself to create definition within the hat, instead of just having everything black and it just looks like one big blob. I used dark brown. And then for his skin, I was actually amazed. I used the skin color for his skin, which is light flesh, and then I went in there with burnt ochre to create the dark spots and shadows for his skin. I was mindful of where I created the shadows on the ground, so where to put the darks. One of the things I should highlight that I did first is that I put in where I want my shadows to go first, and then I blend over it with the lighter color pencil. And the same thing I did for the zepods. Went in there first with the darker vermilion color, and then went over it with the orange color. Guys, this was a lot of fun. I'm using the magenta to do the dark portions of the zepods, and just trying to make sure that August is coming together quite nicely. Guys, this was a lot of fun. It was a very long process, and I am finished, guys. That was a long process, believe it or not. It was a long process. I'm gonna do the narrative piece for this after this, okay, because I don't want to find myself repeating myself over things that I've already said in the narrative piece. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do the cleaned up, or the post-mortem, the end piece here, and then I'm gonna do the narrative piece. So let's hope I don't repeat myself, and I'm still blabbering. Yeah, I blabbered a lot in the first part of that video. One of the things that I should highlight is the colors I chose to use are the Marco Renior colors. I have the 72 sets here. Now let's first highlight this. You see that? That jagged edge in the tip there. You can see that the tip doesn't look actually smooth. It's like this half here. It actually has a little breakage. That's one of the things I should warn you about this pencil, that the leads easily break inside the barrel. So plenty of times it's kind of like Prismacolor, where you find yourself sharpening a pencil and the lead is just breaking constantly. That's what happened to this one here, where the lead actually broke inside, and so I just had to continue sharpening until I get a strong lead, because what happens is while you're coloring with this, it will just snap because it doesn't have the strength. As you can see, it is very, very rigid, and it is not rigid now, it's very, very jagged, so it's not very strong. And I think it snapped with me while I was coloring it on the white here on this piece. What I've done is actually remove this. I was actually using, this is my reference here, and this is my completed piece. As you can see, I took out the elder of the zapods, and I only left in the other little guy right here. And I don't know, just focusing on this picture without the elder in it, and just try to bring this to life using the Marco Renior Coloured Pencils. This is not it is a redraw, but this is not a, it is a comparison, but it's me comparing my March 2021 self to now my June 22 self, and to see how much I have improved. I can say that I have improved tremendously, because just look at the different line variation. Look at how he's sitting here to how he's sitting here. There's more movement in the way he's sitting here versus the way he's sitting here. The zapods, as you can see, they're very, very straight versus how they're here. They're still straight here, but the confidence in the lines work is much more better. I love how I was very, let me use this instead I use my fingers. I love how I was very purposeful in how the zapods pupils were facing, because here it just looks like, I don't know, they're just looking off into space, but here they still kind of looks like they're looking off to space, but it's more purposeful how their eyes are moving. I'm actually analyzing my work here, guys. I actually love my choice of colors here, where I gradiated. This was actually, I think, 6 different versions of purple and violet together, just gradiating it to create the sky, because August is on an alien planet, so it's not necessarily Earth, you know, so I wanted to gradiate the sky. And then when I came to the land here, I don't remember what color I used here, but here I noticed that the land was looking similar to the sky, so I put in a little bit of blue violet in there just to kind of separated the land a bit from the sky, and I think that was a great choice. One of the things you can see I did here and not here is I gave August a plaid shirt to wear, which is something I didn't do here. I still try to keep his color scheme the same, which is the green and yellow, because he is on this purple planet, and so he should stick out like a sore thumb. I love what I did for his hair. As you can see, just the way I drew him, I mean, I think here he looks very flat versus here he looks a little more two-dimensional. You know, his hair has more movement in it versus this one here. I was when I was learning to draw, oh, you have to draw eyebrows, but if his hair is long enough to cover his eyebrows, then you don't have to draw eyebrows, you know. I love the fact that the way I'm drawing the eyes now are different. His nose is still long, the shading is different. I'm much more attentive to the direction of light, if you noticed. very purposeful. Notice I have shading here and here, like there's just a spotlight in between them, but none here, versus this one where you can see the light is actually shining this way, so you actually see the shadow going this way, so you can see that shading in there, so you can see the shadows there. There's a little bit of shading in here, but not too much, but the majority of the shadow is actually here for him. There's some here, so I was actually very purposeful in the where the light is going, and to try to remember that form of light. There's none here, but there's only on those two. And I actually really enjoyed. This was a long process, guys. When I say long, I mean long, because what I did was, after I drew this, I waited 24 hours. I started the morning, I waited till the following morning. So this is actually the next day I'm talking to you, not yesterday when I drew this. I actually waited for the ink to dry properly, because I noticed with inks, especially when you're using dip pen inks or fountain pen inks, you have to give it time to dry. This is not like your liners here, where you can just give it maybe 5 to 10 minutes and the line work should be completely dry. With these, you have to give them at least 2 to 3 hours for them to completely dry, because even if you give it the traditional 5 to 10 minutes, when you go over that to eraser your underlined or your underneath pencil sketch, what happens is the paper starts to peel, and that's because it wasn't dried fully. It looks dry when you put your hand across it, it doesn't smudge, but the paper itself is still damp. So you really do have to give it enough time to dry, and I gave it a full 24 hours to dry so that there was no smudging. The other thing I noticed is that I had to be very careful with my colors. I hope I don't talk too long. I had to be very careful with my colors, because here I had the luxury of this harsh black outline to work with, but this is a brown outline. So I really had to make my characters pop off the page, and I had to be really purposeful in the colors that I chosen. I could choose similar colors to what is here, but I had to be mindful that this is a purple planet. This is a violet purple planet. So the colors really do have to pop off the page, especially here where I was fearful that his scarf was going to go into the background. So I add a little bit of orange, and then I put a brighter red on top of it to make his scarf really pops out, so that he doesn't look like he's just another part of the background. And those are some of the things I've learned. I am amazed of the progress within a year that I have made. And I am just continuing to going along this journey. This is an amazing journey. I really do want to thank, I don't remember who was the one who made the suggestion, to when you want to create some highlights and you want to be very and you don't want to have to leave the white and you want to use the same color to color an entire piece, like what I did here, to first color it with white, and then that creates a resist on the paper, so that when you do color it again with the color that you want, it actually shows the highlights or the resist of that. And that was for that here, to kind of create like a little clouds and stuff. Also, if you notice, the last thing I'm going to say, that for this I actually used white here to blend in the colors, and here I use colorless blender. This is actually odorless mineral spirits. I use this colorless blender. I have it here with some cotton, soaked up with some cotton, so I don't have to use too much to blend this out. So there's two different forms of blending here. For August and the Zapoid, this is burnishing, actually three, because this is burnishing and this is with the white pencil to blend the sky, and odorless mineral spirits to blend the ground. And that's because I knew that I was going to go back over that with a blue violet pencil to kind of make that separation. Guys, I think I've blabbered on enough. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey. I am sorry to make this video so long, but again, stay safe, stay blessed, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.